My gut is telling me 80% certain it's going to close. We're working against a bit of a clock, if you will, at times. But I think at the root of it, all parties are excited about the value this deal will bring.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Cashing Out, brought to you each week by Hoban Law. And with me today is my co-host, Dena Jalbert from Align Business Advisory Services. Hey, Dena.
Hey, Dan.
We also have with us our attorney, Larry Mishkin from Mishkin Law and Hoban Law. Hi, Larry.
Dan, Dena, how are you guys doing?
We're doing good. We're a little bit on pins and needles. I guess you can call it the home stretch right now. And just to bring our listeners up to speed, we've had an LOI for a while. There's a lot of negotiation. A lot of work is going on right now to try to bring this guy in for a safe landing. And we can't talk a ton about what's going on right now. Obviously, stuff is pretty fluid. It's changing as we go. Plus, a lot of information that probably isn't best to be shared with the world. Dena, you're at the front line. You're at the front line, Dena. What's your gut telling you?
My gut is telling me 80% certain it's going to close. We're working against a bit of a clock, if you will, at times, which of course brings some risk and to it. But I think at the root of it, all parties are excited about the value this deal will bring. And so as long as we stay focused on that, I'm certain we can work through the administration. It's just been all that administration that's been taking a bit of time as we've been negotiating and doing all things the past few weeks. But I think we're on a good trajectory to get this thing done here pretty soon.
Every day that we have conversations, I just can see more and more synergies. I mean, this is such a match made in heaven that I'm even more optimistic, but that's pretty par for the course for me. I just feel really good about the synergies, the relations, and this feels like the right deal. I keep my fingers crossed. Hopefully we'll have a big announcement next week. We'll do a whole show around it and it'll be good. It'll be exciting. Hopefully we can do that. But anyhow, so let's jump forward. And what are we going to talk about today? Well, I thought that because we have a big show coming up next week's New York CWCB Expos, that's our big show every year. It starts Wednesday. And over the years, I've made a lot of deals at trade shows, and I know it's sort of the birthplace of a lot of mergers and acquisitions. So maybe Dena, start off, first off, why is it a good idea to get ready to do this or to work a trade show for this? And then second is, what are some tips? What are some things that they should be doing ahead of time?
Yeah, one of the things that we recommend most to clients heading into a show is create a list of folks or organizations, whether they're investors or corporations who could, in an acquisition perspective, but make a list of folks who are attending, or you can often get pull an exhibitor list. You can see who the speakers are. You can kind of prep in advance and create a list of folks that you knowingly want to make connections with, and try to even set some of those up before you even get to the show. We've had a lot of clients who will go to a show and just kind of wander aimlessly amongst the group and hope to make those connections organically. And you will; those will come, especially through some of the social events. But in the interest of time, if you're only there for a couple of days, know who you want to reach out to and go ahead and do it. I even did that for a client once. I went sat in a panel specifically so that the individual giving their speech at the time, once they were done, I immediately approached them afterward and made a connection, and we've actually done 2 deals since then. So be prepared, know who's there, and go and approach them. On the flip side, if you have the budget and you're able to, try and exhibit if you can, if you've got a product or a service, because it creates awareness, not only for investors who you want to target and talk to, but for the broader market, because that always helps drive value as well. So those are the 2 tips that we tend to give out to clients who are headed to shows.
Sometimes it's about just being in the proximity of somebody that you need to talk to. And if you know ahead of time who that person is, it makes it easier to find yourself in the same place as they are. So I always would have a list of people. Here's the people that I needed to bump into.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you, but what I was just going to say, and also make sure they're the right decision makers. So often at a trade show, there's a lot of salespeople or business development people who are there, which are great. Connections are connections. But if you're looking for M&A activity, or if you're raising money and you're looking for private investors, you're not going to find them, at a booth. And so you're exactly right, Dan. Like they say in Hamilton, you got to be in the room where it happens.
Yeah.
And so you want to find yourself in that place and identify who are the decision makers, not maybe the more junior folks, because they'll take your card, but it'll be weeks before you hear from anyone. So try to.
Yeah, especially when you're looking at getting acquired or selling or maybe acquiring somebody, it's usually the principal, the owner. And the best part about a trade show is that competitors are all there and you're on a neutral ground. So when you bump into, hey, how's it going? Yeah, why don't we should grab a coffee or we should grab lunch, and just real casual. There's nothing to be gained by saying, oh, there's my competitor, I got to stay away from him. It's the week you want to cozy up to that person because they could be the person that wants to buy you at some point. The other thing I always did was a lot of times I would bring an attorney. And Larry, you know this firsthand. Yeah. We've gone to trade shows together.
Yes, we have.
Yeah.
And we've had meetings at trade shows. And people come to trade shows with two things in mind. They either want to meet people or they know people and they want to do deals. That's where the trade show industry has gotten to these days. You have everybody all gathered in one location. So it's a perfect time, to sit down. You can have face-to-face meetings with people on the other side. Principals can go talk if they want. The attorneys are in the same room and can compare documents. So it really lends itself very nicely in that regard. The downside, some people say, is, yeah, but if you get stuck, trying to sign up a big, huge deal, you could spend, 3 days up in your hotel suite, to which my response is, hey, if it's a good deal, well, there's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly. And like you said, 3 days, shoot, if I could pull a deal from start to finish in 3 days, I mean, think how much money you save and how much time you save. Normally there's just, we're seeing it right now with this deal. It's just, this person's here, this person's there. When you're coordinating everything, when you're at a trade show, everything happens at warp speed. All deals, like you move so quickly, and especially if you have your team there that can work together. And that's one of the reasons why I got into trade shows, because I love the deal flow at trade shows. Dena, any other thoughts before we move on?
Yeah, no, it's also, from an investor's perspective, trade shows are a great way to keep up with, where the industry is shifting and changing and what new companies are out there. And it's a great way to do it in one, fell swoop. So investors, to Larry's point, are there seeking opportunities. Oftentimes folks will say to us, well, are there really people there looking? No, they really are there, searching for the next new opportunity. And so for the owners of those businesses to be present and be aware of that, I think is key, so that you don't, miss an opportunity. Because oftentimes they'll think, we're just there to do business development, as in sales, which of course is a natural want and desire. But especially at a show like, CWCBE, which is very business to business focused, it's a very good environment for M&A or for capital fundraising.
I think you're right. I used to tell my team, everyone would have to show me what their objectives were before they got to before we got to the show. Here's the 10 things that I want to accomplish at the show. Here's the 5 people, and these 5 people I want to talk to. I want to hold myself to those same standards. When I go to a show, you're spending a lot of money to be there. You want to make sure that you leave there accomplishing at least one objective, whatever it is. I want to meet this person. So I spend the whole day finding this person. And sometimes that could be a game changer. Yeah.
So you're right. You have to be able to follow those leads wherever they are, whenever you have the opportunity to do it.
Yeah, because when is the next time you're going to be in the same building as that person?
That's right. I mean, because once you hit the conference, stuff is flying fast and furious, and you're getting pulled in 12 different directions. And if you don't have something to kind of anchor you to, making sure you get in to see these people, before you know it, everybody's packing up to go home. And now you're really scrambling to try and, just at least say hi to them instead of, really accomplishing what you want to accomplish.
That's a good point. And there's also, I call show fatigue. By day 3, if you're there for the whole thing, some folks are just tired, right? They're tired. And it's not that they're not interested. It's just, if that's when you hit them, if that's when you happen to come across them, it's going to be hard to have a meaningful conversation, because it's just, you've had a long week.
Yeah. And it's just, and on the flip side of that, the very first few hours, people are so amped up. It's like somewhere in between the very beginning and the very end. Anyhow, glad we had a chance to talk about this. And I think the timing is perfect because we have, this big trade show coming up in New York and then a couple more coming up before the summer. So, now's the time to put your plan together. Before we wrap, let me just do some quick housekeeping. I want to thank everybody for all the emails. I apologize for not having as many shows on this as we'd hoped, but thanks for hanging with us and appreciate all the emails and all the suggestions. If we do this show again with a different company, and we've had some suggestions, we may change the format around a little bit, but anyhow, thanks for the emails. Please send more. I always want to thank Jamie Humiston for composing the music. And, last but not least, Dena and Larry, thanks again for doing this with us. And, hopefully the next time the next show we have is the announcement of the deal.
Exciting.
Yes, fingers crossed.
All right. So everyone have a great rest of the day today and a nice week. And hopefully we'll speak to you next Sunday on Cashing Out.